I'll call the meeting to order. And I'll ask Sue if you would call the roll, please.
Sure. Ms. Hightower? Present. Mr. Graven? Ms. Kelly? Present. Ms. Garrett? Mr. Mannix?
Here.
Mr. Russell?
Here.
Mr. Burke?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Okay. Very good. First order of business would be the approval of the agenda. Okay, motion. You, second? Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Kelly and we have a second by Mr. Burke. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Carried. Okay. Approval of the minutes of the September 16th and 30th meeting, because there was an addendum to the meeting, if you will, another piece of minutes that were generated on the 30th. So I ask for a motion to approve the combined meetings of the minutes of the 16th and 30th meetings, and we can deal with any issues in discussion. I have a motion to that effect, please. I have a motion, Mr. Russell, and I have a second, Mr. Kelly. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by aye. Opposed? Any abstentions? Carried. Okay. This time we open the meeting to public comment. Do we have anyone? Please. Let's see anybody. Okay. Move on. Update on searches. We do have word that the trustees will be meeting on Wednesday in Albany, and we've been advised that it would be in Plattsburgh's interest to watch that. We did get the whisper into the ear that there will be a vote on the candidate for Plattsburgh, and as was said to me, they think Plattsburgh would be pleased. That's as far as they went, and we will get a link so people who want to watch the meeting will be able to do that.
What time of day is it?
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock. I think so.
Around, yeah, it should be right around the 10 o'clock time, and we should be sending out a campus note to the campus community, hopefully before the end of the business day tomorrow, with the polling and the time that it's expected to be around. And then the board meets finalists tomorrow in executive closed session, state board trustees, and then nothing is announced then there's the public announcement of the presidential appointee to the public on Wednesday around 10:00. We open up the board meeting. And we'll find out then.
Thank you. All right. Okay. I'll offer a side comment because I thought, I want to share the joy of it all. Okay. That particular information was made available to Ann and to myself on the 7th of November. Okay. Which happened to have been my birthday. And the 6th of November was Ann's birthday. Okay. So it was very pleasant for both of us to get that heads up. But anyway, where are we with searches for VPs?
So we're trying to prepare to be ready to launch national recruitments for the Vice President of Academic Affairs and Provost position that they his desire to vacate at the end of this year, as well as Vice President of Enrollment and Student Success that Brian wishes to vacate at the end of this academic year. We have contracted with a search firm through a competitive request for proposal process. The firm is actually RPA, which is the same firm that supported and assisted the college with our presidential searches. And they're very excited and looking forward to working with some Plattsburgh again for these very key critical positions. We have drafted, I'd say, position profiles for both of those. They have been shared with the faculty and executive committee. And we have kind of a proposed framework for the search committees for both of those searches. Timing is critical. You really want to launch these national searches before the holiday break. So we are kind of just preparing these in line to have a conversation with the named president as soon as they are available after their official appointment on Wednesday, to reach out to them to discuss the profiles and the process and to get their concurrence to proceed as we have planned. So directly following that, under the assumption that they are desirous of proceeding with the searches, we will fill the slots on the search committee, schedule on-campus engagement sessions with our PA to learn about our particular needs and desires for a successful candidate for both of these positions. We are currently shooting for maybe the December 5th and 6th in order to have those engagements, because time is short, because commencement is on the 14th and finals start on the 7th. So it's really going to be crunched from that perspective. So the hope is we can have that engagement with the named president as soon as possible to then have the engagement sessions on the 5th and 6th. So then at that point, RPA will do their work and attract and obtain applicants for the position over the holiday break and through basically January. And then the search committees will then get involved in deliberating and reviewing the materials from the applicants, and hopefully bring selected candidates to campus around the March-April timeframe for the full campus engagement of the candidates, at which time There will also be opportunity for the College Council to be part of that process. Where we're at.
Sounds familiar.
Yes.
Very good.
And the new president will start when?
We don't know. Wednesday, 10 o'clock. Wednesday, 10 o'clock. We'll find out.
Okay. And next order of business is you, the Chief Administrative Officer in charge report.
All right, I have a fairly short report. Really been working a lot on trying to make sure that the searches are in line and we're ready to do that. But just want to give a few highlights. Last week, we had a wonderful EOP award ceremony. It was just fabulous. Our EOP program has been very successful and really changing the lives of thousands of students. And this group of students that we have now is no different than the ones that have come before. They are so engaging, so vibrant, so full of energy, and so successful on the academic side. There were 70 award recipients for academic achievement. And it's just phenomenal. It was just a phenomenal, wonderful ceremony, really, where you get to see the lives that you're touching, and it's wonderful. And I wanted to share that with you. We also, on Friday, had a wonderful celebration of our research scholars, and so it was the 18th such event that we have held, and it's held in the library, which is just a perfect environment for our research scholars. And I just wanted to give you a little, brief note about each of our scholars. So first was Dr. Joshua Beatty, who's an associate librarian at Feinberg Library, a faculty member since 2010. He manages the college's institutional repository and teaches for both the library and for the history department. He also serves as the Coast City historian for the city of Plattsburgh. And there's tables that are set up for each of the scholars with their work that's there, and they do a brief discussion and presentation of their research. And Dr. Beatty conducted scholarship in two fields, one library and information science, and then American history. And so one of the stories that he talked about was just how library cataloging occurred and how the research was there. And it was very interesting. Another one was Dr. Kwan-Sik Cho, who is an associate professor in supply chain management. And he served as the chair of the Department of Supply Chain Management and International Business since 2018. He came to SUNY Plattsburgh in 2006 after 9 years on the faculty at Keene State College in New Hampshire and 3 years at the University of Alaska in Fairbanks. He has applied his combination of practical and academic experience to a variety of consulting opportunities with major corporations in Korea, including Samsung Electronics. His research interests span a wide range of topics, including manufacturing strategy and production, competence, organizational change management, and performance-based budgeting. And he shared a research project that he had started at the University of Alaska that was about performance-based budgeting, but they basically chased him out before he can finish because it was a little too invasive for the faculty there. And another project that is much more closer to home that he has recently worked on is with the Department of Transportation in the North Country, working on demand lines and how we can make changes to our public transportation that will provide the public more access. And it was just really interesting. And let's see, next we had Dr. James Lindgren. He's a history professor at SUNY Plattsburgh since 1994. Teaches courses on U.S. history, including historic preservation, historic sites, and history museums. And Dr. Lindgren has written several books that his table was just full with wonderful, beautiful books, one of which was just hot off the press. His honors include the SUNY Chancellor's Award for Excellence in Scholarship, and locally he has served as co-chairman of the City of Plattsburgh Centennial Commission and as a board member of the Clinton County Historical Association. And his area of study is primarily on whaling museums, a lot of maritime and whaling museums. It was interesting. And he gave his life path of how he had come through here. Great, very nice. The next one is Dr. Stephen Mansfield, excuse me. He's taught in the psychology department here since 2000. His current research concerns the cognitive and perceptual processes involved in reading. His interest in this topic stems from his time as a postdoctoral research associate at the University of Minnesota, where he helped develop the MN-Read acuity chart. So it's the eye chart. And he has done this wonderful, fascinating work in regards to eye charts and the size of the print and the font, and it was really, really quite interesting. It was illuminating. He was so excited to be sharing his research with all of us. So it was fabulous. I'm almost done. But we have a lot of wonderful research scholars, and it's important. Dr. Allison Pelotti, an assistant professor of teacher education. She currently teaches undergraduate and graduate courses in elementary and special education. Dr. Pelotti was an elementary school teacher and a principal for 12 years. And then she switched careers. And she decided to come to SUNY Plattsburgh. And she's making a difference because her area of research, doesn't matter what it is about the students and about the student engagement and how to help them be more successful in their classroom. And you can just tell that she is so proud of the students that are there, and she has them engaged in research that is, as she says, for no credit, for no money, but they're excited and they get to do stuff that is going to make a difference in their people's lives, period. So it's just, it was fabulous. And lastly, J. Mark Pickering and Joanne Gleason-Craig, who I'm sure you may have heard before. They are longstanding members of our community. They have worked tirelessly for very, very many years, putting these this event on to celebrate our scholars. And I just want to make sure that they get a shout out as well. And they're people who have worked hard to make things happen. So, okay, and let's see. One last announcement is that this Friday we are going to have a wonderful North Country Scholars Breakfast, and so this is a fabulous time where our students who have been awarded the North Country Scholarship come with their parents and just take a few minutes and a time out with the donors who have supported the North Country Scholars. And so it's a wonderful breakfast event where you have our student scholars with their families, and you have the donors who are there and who have given the funds to help support their academic careers. So it's a wonderful time of year. We're just celebrating all the time. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we're going to move into division reports, and I'm going to make a little adjustment to the breakdown, if you will, and move some reports up, because we've got a couple of people who are going to have a problem with some time. So if you'll bear with me, and have them make their report, and then I'll jump back into the division reports. Okay? And the first of these, I'm going to invite Essence, if you would make your report. Okay?
Yeah?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, so I'll be okay today. And the sun came out a little bit, so again, I was a little happy. So because I've been feeling sad, because I don't know, I think it's just it's cold and then it's windy and then finals coming. So stuff is going on. But yeah, very good news for the Student Association. We passed the Constitution, which was very, very big, and it now allows for all the things I talked about in the last meeting, which includes compensation, which is one of the big things that everyone's really, really excited about. So yeah, that was a really, really big thing that happened. And then we also had elections. So we have the legislation now. They don't start, their term doesn't begin, I think, until January 1st, 2020. Wait, yeah, 2020. Okay, yeah, 2020. So yeah, that also happened. And so the new president is Rudolph Ahmed. I'm sure many of you worked with her before. And then the vice president, I don't know if any of you know her, her name is Jennifer Stan. So both executive vice presidents. And so those two will be in the mix a lot. And Rudolph will be sitting on those meetings. My time is over. I'm so sad. I don't want to go, but it's okay. And yeah, it's been really good talking to you all and finding solutions and just kind of reporting, and so I appreciate this. Oh, I got an internship. I guess I got an internship, so I won't be here for my final semester. I'll actually be in Washington, D.C. So, which was like my dream thing. So hopefully I get a job there and you see me on the TV soon. So yes, thank you so much.
Where are you going to be with?
I don't know yet. Right now, I'm working with a team in the CDC where they kind of put my resume and my applications. They kind of fill them out for me on behalf of me. So I definitely know I'll be placed somewhere now. But I don't know if it'll be in a congressional office. It could be again, but maybe like a nonprofit or I don't know, some campaign. I'm excited though. It's really nice.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
And we will watch. So yeah, that day when we okay. Excellent. All right. And, next up, Jim Harshart.
UUP has been active with the Senate committee hearings, the higher ed Senate committee hearings. There's been, I believe, 4 of them across the state. Fred Cowell and other UUP members offered testimony at the Senate hearings in advocacy to support SUNY. SUNY actually, SUNY Central only appeared at 2 of the meetings, unfortunately. So, but we have a legislative agenda that is primarily aimed at 2 items. The primary one is the cap gap solution. So we will be, we have lobby days scheduled in February and March, and also along with later in March to lobby the key legislators, especially for the cap gap. Also, the secondary item on the agenda is the transparency grant. That is especially aimed at the research foundation. to look so that right now the Research Foundation is not foiled. And a lot of the shenanigans that happened with carryovers and those people could have been averted if with sufficient oversight. The transparency bill is geared towards allowing the comptroller to have oversight over the be able for the comptroller to be able to audit the research. That's the thing. That's pretty much the report for statewide agency. Locally, we're continuing our membership in Carding Drive. We have 95% of the full-time union employees are currently members. So we're doing pretty good. Any questions?
Okay, now we'll go through the statute division reports. Academic affairs, Dave?
I have a few things I'd like to highlight, but before I do, Team Buster is here to highlight a few things that are happening in the arts and sciences. The way this happened was we have a Dean's meeting every week, and he has to be at a conference, so we got elected to do this. But he's also very good.
Well, since I did it while I was out of town, I thought, well, I will avenge it by bragging about some of our people, who are worth bragging about, and just tell you a little bit about some research projects and still arts and sciences going on right now. You know, SUNY Plattsburgh is primarily a teaching institution, but research plays an important part in a number of our programs. In addition to the value it provides for faculty contributions, society, all that kind of thing, research is a great opportunity for advanced work with a lot of our students. It provides a chance for really close interaction between students and faculty members, and oftentimes a one-on-one apprenticeship. It's really hard to get in any other context. It also provides excellent career preparation, which is often extremely useful for students who are going to go on to careers in jobs, writing school, that kind of thing. And I should say it's also an area where we can take advantage of some external funding programs. In times of financial strain, it can be difficult to develop strong enrichment programs for advanced students. By working with federal and private foundations, though, we can leverage grant funds not only to produce exciting experiences for students, but in some cases to bring funding for equipment and indirect costs and so on that can support our operations overall. And so I just like to let you know about a couple of developments in that area in one of our most active areas, which is biomedical science. Biology is our largest department, it's the largest one on campus, and it's been undergoing strong growth in recent years, in large part because so many students are interested in the whole science careers. Right? Indeed, our fastest growing programs are our new major in biomedical sciences. That was opened in 2017 with 15 students. In the spring of 19, it had 178 students. Clearly, it's something that our students are very excited about. But with that number of students, how do we provide research experiences? How do we find an opportunity not only for young students, but for beginning students to engage in the kind of discovery and creativity that research involves? And two examples, one from chemistry and one from biology, show some ways the faculty have been doing this. The first is a study in the Department of Chemistry by two of our really outstanding faculty members, William Nicholas and Rajesh Swenson. Their focus is on biochemistry. You guys know Christine, and Rajesh? Wonderful, wonderful. Their focus on biochemistry, and particularly on something called nanocellulose crystals. Now, I won't go into detail on what nanocellulose crystals are, because I tend to pronounce the words in the library bad. But they are a really promising area for the development of something called a vaccine adjuvant. An adjuvant is something that's put into a vaccine to make it work. You know what a vaccine is, right? It's basically a weakened version of something that's going to make you sick. You can make those work better in a lot of cases by putting certain kinds of chemicals in with them that enhance the impact of that on the immune system. There are a number of different kinds of adjuvants out there. Some of them have some dangers associated with them, and so medical researchers want to avoid those, want to make vaccines as safe as possible. Nanocellulose crystals, cellulose is just a wood is made of. Nanocellulose crystals appear to be much safer. If they could be used as adjuvants, it might be possible to make new, more effective vaccines, which is something I'm interested in. To do that, though, you have to know what the chemical and physical properties of nanocellulose crystals are. And that requires a lot of research. One of the leading people studying that in the United States is actually Hermes, who happens to work for us. And so a couple of years ago, Korean researchers sent in a grant proposal to the National Institutes of Health for a special program called an RUI. And it's a grant program that's oriented toward research at primarily undergraduate institutions. The proposal was funded for a few years with a total award of just under $330,000. And now not only provides equipment and materials for the work, but also support for students to be involved in the research activities, assistance, sometimes over the summer. Students have been working in the lab with Rajesh and Karina to characterize a variety of cationic nanocellulose crystals, which they are assembling into a sort of library of crystal types for use by medical researchers. The results have just been outstanding. Students have actually published their research in a number of peer-reviewed journals together with Karina and Rajesh, including chemical biological interactions, biochemistry, biophysics reports, and the Journal of Nanomaterials. They presented the research to a number of American Chemical Society meetings, winning awards for best posters, and several of them. Many of these students have gone on to careers in medicine or biochemistry research. We currently have former students at Johns Hopkins School of Medicine, the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine, New York State Medical Center, and PhD programs in chemistry at Clarkson, Syracuse, Louisiana State, Minnesota, and Oregon. I should stress too that this is a project that brings in a diverse group of students, right, including 38 women, 12 Latinx students, and 5 African American students in the past several years with Rajesh and Karina. So it's a wonderful example of using a partnership with an external agency to create really exciting advanced opportunities for our students. Now that's for advanced students. What about beginning students, right? If that's really a great time to catch students, to get them at the very beginning of their scientific career, so that as they're learning the first steps in laboratory techniques and so on, they can see what that's leading to. Last year, the Department of Biology started a project to do just that with support of the Howard Hughes Medical Research Institute. It was led by Nancy Ellis, who's been the leader on this project, together with junior faculty Amy Ryan, Alyssa Gleischner, and Megan Valentine. The Howard Hughes Medical Institute has a program called Synphages, which we applied for and joined this past fall. It's our first year doing it. And it centers on phages. For those of you who don't know, who could not know what a phage is? You know what a bacteria is, right? It's a teeny tiny little thing. I'm an anthropologist. I like to tell people that an anthropologist is uncomfortable with technology or don't live with stone trees. Anything more complicated than that is hard for me. I work with this. So a bacteria is a teeny tiny little thing that makes us. A phage is an even tinier thing, which makes bacteria. Right? The parasite that lives on bacteria. There are thousands and thousands of different phages out there. Most of them undiscovered. Right? We know what a bunch of them are, but there are zillion out in the environment. And the Howard Hughes Medical Institute would like to know what goes on. They would like to know more about them because of phages injure bacteria. It's possible you could use phages for medical purposes. You might be able to use phages to treat diseases which can't be treated with antibiotics. But to find them, to identify them, and to analyze their genes would take thousands of researchers to find all these thousands of phages. And so they came to the idea of getting these researchers in the introductory biology classes. They developed a program called Synphages, which we had just trained. And what we thought was one section of Bio 101. One section this year will expand to 2 sections next year, and hopefully continue to expand into that. But initially, one section of 24 students, which uses for the course of the semester data and material furnished by Howard Hughes, Howard Hughes Medical Institute, which includes a variety of different kinds of phages. The students, under the guidance of the faculty, learn basic laboratory techniques by isolating, grading, and analyzing these phages. And over the course of the semester, they move from the initial phase of identifying them, culturing, cultivating them, and pulling out their genes and sort of pulling apart their genes and doing geoapheresis in order to see what they end up and so on. All the things you would learn in the intro bio lab class, they do apply to these phages. At the end of the semester, which is coming up very soon, 2 of their phages are going to be sent to the Howard Hughes Medical Institute for sequence, gene sequence. And those will form the basis of the genetics course in the second semester. Now, it's incredibly exciting for the students. I went to visit the class last week, and the kids walked me through each of their contracts. So I've been to a lot of intro bio classes. The word excitement doesn't really characterize labs for those. You're learning to use a pump, you're learning to do this and that and the other. They were learning about these stations, and they were doing something that was going to contribute to an active medical research program with real consequences for human health. They were tremendously excited. And we're hoping, we just put in an application to go in for the second phase. So there's a seed phases, which we're going to keep on repeating. In addition, there's an upper level called seed genes, in which you incorporate genetic analysis of these into the division genetics classes. So ideally, students will be able to work from the very beginnings of this as they work through their academic career doing research in genetics on the again, just 2 things to note about this. One is the really high impact that they have. It really shows students what they were for, what it can lead to, and connects these very basic things to lead to these things in their fields. The other is it's a wonderful example of the things we can do to collaborate with outside institutions. We are in a time where we have limited financial resources. We are in a time where we struggle sometimes to come up with means to provide the kinds of enrichment experience we will our students on. And so I'm particularly proud of these faculty and these departments for finding a way to leverage external funding resources to do that across their council.
Those are 2 ways in academic career we support teachers, scholars, and provide for good experiences for our students. Great examples. There are a couple other things I wanted to mention along those lines. We're always looking for new programs to create, and programs which really leverage the faculty expertise that we currently have, and in most cases, the coursework that we have, repackaging it, redesigning it. An example of that is a 4+1 accounting program, and accounting program and data analytics, and a combined undergraduate, bachelor's, master's program. And a certificate in human resources, which market research suggests to us are attractive areas for students right now. Proposals for those 2 major programs have been approved by SUNY Central and are awaiting review by the State Education Department. Another one is occurring down at the Ranch campus. It's a Pathways to Leadership program, which we actually launched last month. That's a 4-month program that focuses on the career pipeline for from teacher to school building leader. In meetings that we've just had, the first meeting, 27 teachers have been tapped by their building principals as potential school leaders. And those 27 have enrolled in this 4-month program. In addition to thinking about programs that would attract students and retain students at SUNY Plattsburgh, we're also constantly looking at reviewing our existing programs to update them and realize any efficiencies we can in our instructional costs to address our budget situation. Some examples of program areas where we're looking are in the HHS, combining the health, wellness, leadership, and nutrition majors. What we're doing is those 2 majors will stay as separate majors, but there's a lot of course overlap in them that we're arranging, and the departments, which have been separate, are merged together. In School of Business and Economics, we've merged hospitality management and management entrepreneurship, and we're rebranding the hospitality management program to focus more on management of facilities and less on restaurant work. In fact, that impacts San Luis restaurant, which this next semester will not be run because we don't have enough students to do the front and the back of the house. So what we're doing is talking about new uses for that space in Sydney that will continue to involve outreach to the community and involvement. We have an academic renewal plan that's looking at other production targets, and we're continuing to aggressively review budgets and instructional costs in order to realize permanent savings given our reduced revenues. The emphasis is having faculty departments look at what they do, how they do it, and look for efficiencies that will result in reduction of costs. So that's my report.
Thank you. Administration appointment.
Another job. Looking forward to getting back to it full time. The Division of Administration and Finance has been doing a wonderful job. With me as a leader, kind of coming in and out during this past term. But one of the biggest challenges that we have is, we have wonderful staff at SUNY Plattsburgh who really care and dedicate their full careers to SUNY Plattsburgh. And then eventually they unfortunately retire, and then you're left with, oh my. So we have a long-time employee, Sheila Renee, who was here for over 30 years. Really running and shepherding what we could call it accounting, but it's not extensive accounting. It's making sure that we know our revenues and do some billing and whatnot. It gets quite complicated in the world of SUNY. And for all intents and purposes, she was pretty much a one-person show for many of those 30 years, and she was also responsible for managing our accounts payable office. So I'm sure you all can imagine it was it's been interesting trying to figure out how to continue to operate for those two. And so we've done a little bit of restructuring in regards to that, and has moved the accounting functions in with the budget functions to align and provide some efficiencies in that area. And then ask my assistant vice president for administration and finance, who was leading the procurement department, to now be responsible for accounts payable because of the synergies between the funds. So that's been a challenge, and it's only recently, I think it's been a couple of weeks since Sheila has no longer come to work. But she clearly is missed, and I know she's been back at least once already. So we know she's a long-time community member, and so she's still going to be around. And I saw her at Face of the North Country event last Friday as well. So that's been a good deal of time. One of the other things that we've been focusing on, and hopefully coming close to implementation, is a new budget software that's going to help us understand our budget better and do financial projections so that we can have more information that we can share and help the leaders of this wonderful campus align our resources to our highest priorities. So that's a pretty big effort as well. Then we have some construction projects. There's always many construction projects. Right now, we're kind of still in the middle of some big ones. So the Memorial Hall, major renovation, right? You've heard me talk about this before. It's in final construction bidding. And so we are looking forward to that process, awarding a contract and some boots on the ground, hopefully in February, March timeframe, where there'll be some activity with contractors doing the first phase of that project. We will be taking the pool offline at the end of this term, and we will be doing some demo of that pool environment over the winter break.
Okay, sounds good. I'm not saying that.
So that's our huge project that we're looking forward to do. One of the other ones that I think are really going to be impactful to not only to Plattsburgh, but also to the community is our gym and field house. We're going to be making renovations to that. It's going to be pretty much a renovation of the inside of that gym and flooring. We will be taking the gym offline after our commencement, so there is going to be an impact to some of the local high schools who currently use our gym for their graduation ceremonies, and I know we're in conversations with them about how we might help support their gym. The renovation is going to result in a new floor for the gym. That's actually going to be a turf, artificial turf floor, along with a new track to support events in there. And we will continue to have bleachers to support our commencement and large events in that area. So those are both very exciting opportunities. There's some other boring infrastructure projects like masonry work that is being done and will probably be continuing over the next few years to preserve our buildings, because we need them to stick around for a very long time. And unfortunately, they've been around for a while, so we need to reseal them, I guess is the way I would say masonry work does. So that and some parking lots. Those are back in the concludes my report.
Michelle?
So when last we spoke, I talked about engaging in a listening tour, and that still continues. But I thought I would probably highlight some of the things that we've done in the last 4 months. I'm just moving into my 5th month. And most of the work, even though I'm engaging with the outside community, the outward-facing community, it's really important to give a lot of visibility inward-facingly to this work of diversity, equity, and inclusion. So I thought I'd just highlight some of the things that we did over the last month or two. What month was that? October. October 29th, we had what we called our blueprint party, which was a large cross-section of the campus getting together and really setting the blueprint for what this work would look like. We had about 130 people turn up, and we started having some really important conversations as a campus with a cross-section of community members really talking about what are our core diversity, equity, and inclusion values? What do we mean by community? What do we mean by diversity? What do we mean by inclusion? What do we mean by new visions, and what would those things look like when we enact them? So we had a good conversation for about 2.5 hours. Also on November 8th, similarly getting the campus together to get some visibility around these issues. So November 8th was deemed the first National First Gen Month. And SUNY Plattsburgh, I think that might have been the first time that we really had a collaborative effort between my office and some other offices, SSS, and tell me, Brian, what were some other offices?
services and EOP.
And EOP got together and really recognized not just our first generation students, but also first generation faculty and staff and one alumni, helping people to see that when we talk about diversity, that we're not just talking about some of the things that we can see that are very visible, but also some of the invisible things, such as people's first gen status, but also helping us in the community that when we look around, we'll see that there are people that are first generation that also look like people that we didn't think they would look like. So I think that was really important, but also giving some visibility to engaging with the diversity that we have, which is the inclusion part. And coming up on the 20th of November, which is a few days away, is the National Transgender Day of Remembrance, and I brought some flyers for you. So again, we did some stats on our LGBTQIA+ community at SUNY Plattsburgh, and we have about 5 transgender students. So it's important for us as an institution to help those students to understand that we see them and that we're understanding some of the challenges that they might experience as transgender students. So we're partnering with the North Country Gender Alliance to actually have some serious programming related to that day. And I think what's important about the Transgender Day of Remembrance is that many people that sort of like buy into that idea of heteronormativity. We talk about transgender members of the community being killed, but it's more than being killed, it's how they're killed. You know, so we thought that we needed to have that conversation as a campus. So I don't know if you're going to be in the area, but I have some flyers that I'd love to share with you. Some other highlights that are coming up that I thought you should be aware of. I like to say that my work is less about fixing things and more about saying what are some of the things that might not be working as well that we as a community can get together and work on. So to that vein, we do a really good job of bringing in diverse faculty from whatever form of diversity. I'm not sure that we always do a very good job of engaging with them. So one of the things that we have been talking about as chief diversity officers throughout the system is engage with our faculty of color more intentionally. So to that end, in December, we're thinking about having some very intentional outreach to our faculty of color to have sort of like a reception, almost like continuing that listening tour, and to ask what are some of the experiences that you're having? What are some of the things we can do better to make sure that you stay here? Because we bring them, but we also need to understand how we need to keep them here, and that's the retention. Very importantly, people expect that work needs to be done as it pertains to diversity and inclusion. But before we can do the work, we need to understand what some of the issues are. So to that end, we'll be doing in the very early spring some climate assessment with our faculty, with our staff, and our students. So we're doing 3, sort of like an exhaustive climate assessment, so that we really can understand what are some of the things that are happening on the campus that we can then address. And that ends my report.
Thank you. Ms. Brian?
Thank you. Just want to let people know that SUNY put together a system-wide student mental health and wellness task force, and Dr. Kathleen Canella and I are serving on that. We've had our first meeting through a conference call. We both are on a subcommittee that has met through a conference call, and then there's 2 upcoming meetings in Albany. The first one this coming Wednesday, November 20th, and then again on Wednesday, December 11th. There are numerous trustees on this committee. It's pretty broadly subscribed to. The goal is to make recommendations to SUNY leadership and the board of trustees. I think the timeline is sometime in February, and we'll see where that goes. My hope certainly is, and the perspective that I'm trying to infuse into this conversation is that, you know, there is a great need around support for our students. Anxiety is the #1 issue that our students are struggling with and facing. But to really make a difference is we need, you know, an infusion of new resources, hopefully through the legislature, because right now, certainly our campus and almost all student campuses that I'm aware of are addressing the student fees. And to really change things, we're not going to be able to increase fees enough. So that's going to be the big challenge. I will add one thing to Essence report. The other thing that happened in the election on November 12th is every 2 years, the students vote on whether to keep the essay fee mandatory, and it passed again this year, which is incredibly important considering that the essay budget is nearly $1 million. That makes an incredible impact on this campus, and so to keep that mandatory is important. And once again, they did that. Both our men's and women's soccer teams had a very positive end to their season. They both hosted a tournament game, SUNYAC tournament game. Unfortunately, they didn't make it to the very end, but still making it into postseason is exciting, and to both teams host was great. Winter sports have kicked off. The basketball and hockey teams, women's hockey team, if you don't read the paper, it's in the paper this morning, that once again, they actually tied their own record for the most consecutive wins of 25, and which has been going on since January 12th of this year. And they did that once before in 2015-16. So if they win their next game, they will break their own record for the most consecutive wins. So they continue to have, you know, be having a great season. You know, sorry if I'm stealing some of your report. I want to thank our friends in alumni office and institutional advancement at the homecoming this year. Our division had some really wonderful and successful events thanks to that partnership. Once again, we inducted a great class into the Hall of Fame, Sports Hall of Fame. EOP celebrated with a couple of events. It was their 50th anniversary, and at the one main event, it was really neat that the very first director of that program, Dr. Clarence Miller, attended, and he just was, you know, just taken back emotionally about the positive things that we have accomplished since he helped and others create, and it started with a program called Project New City, but just the diversifying of the institution and the support. He was just very humble and appreciative. That was great. And then the other, we had a wonderful event at Valcor with a really good turnout from alumni and family members of our dear colleague who passed in April, Cheryl Holden. So just wanted to mention that. Next thing, we had this fall a wonderful partnership between Expeditionary Studies, the academic program, and our recreation department. They came together and offered, I think it was 10 different weekend trips into the Adirondacks, kayaks, where our students in Expeditionary Studies were the leaders of those trips, and it got students that wouldn't normally have the opportunity to engage the out of doors. Almost half of them were international students. Another group were out of New York City, and so it just was a wonderful, because we talk about, you know, come to this beautiful area and engage, and so this is just another effort that really worked well, and we met a couple times, and we're going to continue that partnership to be providing opportunities, because it's great training for our students in Expeditionary Studies, and then getting our students out and engaging the out of doors. And that's it. So,
on the advancement front, a couple of events, some news about recent event that was really powerful down in Boston. We're down there every year. It's about 30 alumni with 30 students. Dr. Gaber, Dr. Christopherson, and Maureen were the SVP coordinators on that. It was neat to have the event hosted this year by two of our graduates who have been extremely successful in higher education. Emery Trahan, who's a Rouse's Point leader, is the Senior Associate Dean of School Business at Northeastern. So a pretty impressive position, and he co-hosted with Diane Austin, who many of you know, who recently retired as Vice President of Student Affairs of the South, down in the Austin area. So it's a neat, message that we give to our students when we're able to feature our graduates. Coming up, we have an event in Los Angeles on Wednesday. We have dinner in Long Island that Gary Stevens is hosting, which is kind of cool. He's paying for the whole meal. And that's a pretty big deal down in Long Island. The stakes are not cheap down there. We have a docent tea happening in early December. This is something the foundation sponsors annually to thank the docents who, as volunteers, are really the ones that help our galleries and stay open to the public. And as Josie mentioned, scholarship event. If you haven't been to one of those, this is the year to come. Stephanie DeBuck will be the featured speaker. She's a local scholar. She's an amazing speaker. Very powerful. Over the past 4 years, something like $4.7 million in scholarships. So if anyone ever says to you, why don't we recruit in the North End, let them know that we do. There's by the way, there is an alumni social, alumni friends, December 4th, locally here in Massachusetts, at the Vesco Ridge Vineyards. So you're welcome. It's on the website. On the communications front, the magazine's going to be hitting mailboxes shortly, just in time for holiday season. There's a nice story in there on the Latin American Studies program, which there's some great alumni profiles of successful recent graduates, and also the scholarship programs as well. The Destroyed Campus Housing and New Living, the new brand and identity. There's a wonderful last word in the issue. Dr. Cromwell was speaking about the work of diversity, equity, and inclusion. On the marketing front, there's been some chatter on campus about the need for a new visual image in our Flint Commons. If you haven't been up there recently, don't go look at the mural because it's old and it's going to change. So we're putting together some design ideas and hope to unveil that in time for when students return in end of January. That will be a real kind of school spirit type message. There'll be burgundy, there'll be color, there'll be some red and white, and just images, some of the iconic imagery of this area that we want students to really connect with part of the Plattsburgh experience. On the development front, thanks to a really amazing request that we received from Energy Maxon, we're running well ahead of where we were at this time last year for unrestricted gifts. She's an amazing example of someone who gave, I think, between $10 and $100 every single year of her whole life to Plattsburgh. And then at the end of her life, in her estate plans, we were one of many beneficiaries. It's very cool to see the list of all the different things that she supported nonprofit. And we are receiving over $340,000 unrestricted. That's not a statement of support and love to just have it be unrestricted for the college to use. And I've already had discussions with the leadership team and a few board members that we're looking at setting aside a small portion of that request in what we refer to as a quasi-endowment, which would create somewhat of a permanent fund that would bear her name. So it's a way of creating a legacy that wouldn't always be there. So her name will live on and on. Some recent gifts that just came in last week that are kind of cool because they hit a bunch of different areas. A $25,000 gift that hits the North Country Scholarship, the Dalton Chris Memorial Scholarship, and the Plattsburgh. 15,000 for the Studies Program. We have 6 more solicitations for that program in the next 2 months to get it done. And then 15,000 for a business plan competition that matches up environmental science students with business students to do a project related to energy and the environment. And it's the 5th year that this program's been in place. And what's cool about it is at this point in time, we're looking at talking with the benefactor about creating something a little different that will be more directly linked to the new sustainability reminder, so that we can provide some more resources there so we can build some more attention around that program. So it's a nice interdisciplinary. That's it.
Thank you. Next item is the chair's report. I really don't have anything to report other than, the main issue of my report was the statement I made at the beginning of the meeting. All that I will say is there's hardly a week goes by that there was a significant news, positive news that comes out of Plattsburgh. And there's just so many really positive things that are going on in this campus. And, I think one of the things that I really see in the last year I spent very much, and then I think one of the things that I see is I see faculty really committed to students and enjoying the fruits of that commitment, enjoying what they're doing, enjoying the feedback that they get from their interaction with the students. I mean, it's a good place to be, and I think that's a priceless thing to have, to go to work and to have that sense. And I think that's a gift that's happening. Anyway. Next report, Eric Cole.
Sure. Briefly, the Senate and the faculty executive committee has been, among other things, kind of digesting and responding, and now trying to re-engage with the academic plan. There's many things in that document that are really kind of fantastic that we should have been doing for a long time, and they do touch many of our committees, standing committees. So the question that we're moving on to is how will faculty be engaged in the process of shared governance and implementing that, designing and implementing that plan. So we're having conversations about that. As far as the typical work that takes place, but the general education plan is had its first reading at the last Senate meeting. And it was a good conversation. It went for about an hour or so. And I've seen other GE wars in the past, and I'm happy. It's amazing how the landmines don't change after many years. So we're going to deal with the landmines, we will diffuse the landmines, and we will move forward with courage and integrity. Yeah, actually, it was a good conversation. What I'm going to be doing is reaching out to the problem areas on campus one-on-one, and we're going to find a way to, when there are problems with the plan, and we'll convince all of the faculty that this is something we're doing. As I've noted before, we're thinking about retention, we're thinking about DEI. That's the twin trajectory of the GP plan. It is 33 to 33 credits, so that has not changed. There's not a lot, it's not a big ask in here. It's about doing more with what we already have. And then I should just tell you that we will be voting to deactivate the art history program at the next meeting. So this is a long time coming. So art history as a major will no longer be taught here at Plattsburgh, but we will also be voting on, well, actually that hasn't been approved, obviously. But there is a new major on law and justice that's primarily coming out of the policy department. That's also interdisciplinary that we hope to have voted on. So we're excited. Law and justice.
Just if you can provide more support for pre-law students. Right now, we have a legal studies program which supports pre-law students, but it's really very minimal and is not very actively supported by the faculty in the political science department. Over the last few years has brought in a number of really great young faculty who focus on legal issues, and so they put together this in collaboration with the Department of Criminal Justice. So we can be able to have a pre-law that proceeds that we hope to be able to follow.
Okay.
I'm going to thank everybody for their reports. Is there any old business to come forward about it? Any new business? All right, I'm going to take a motion to adjourn. Okay, right? Second. Okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, signify by aye. Okay. Opposed? Carried. Our next meeting is scheduled for Monday, February 10th at 1 o'clock. Thank you all for being here. Thank you.